Let's say you were confident enough that Pepsi or Procter & Gamble would grow cash flow faster than Coke or Gillette would, and that the replacement value of the stock was less expensive enough to more than make up for the taxes. Would you then sell Coke, for example, to buy Pepsi? And if not, why not? And how do you value this reputation for loyalty aspect in those decisions?
Well, I think that's a very good question. I don't think we would ever, I think it's very unlikely we would come to the conclusion that we were that certain that you mentioned P&G and Pepsi versus the ones, but some major consumer products company would do better than the ones we're in. We might very well decide that some other one is going to do quite well and buy that additionally. As a practical matter, if I'm on the board of the company, where Charlie were to be at representing Berkshire, it's very difficult. I would say it's almost impossible for us to trade in their securities. It creates too many problems. People would think we knew something we didn't, or particularly if we were selling it. We would have people questioning very much whether we had detected something within the company that was not available to the rest of the world. So we really give up an enormous amount of investment mobility when we go on a board, and so I don't even think about doing what you're suggesting, although I might very well if I were just a money manager running the business. We certainly, and we've laid it out in the ground rules in the back of in our owner's manual back in the annual report, we've certainly said in terms of businesses we buy control of that they just aren't for sale, and a fancy price will not tempt us. And we lay out that exception relating to business where we think there's a permanent loss of cash for as far as the eye can see, or businesses where we have labor troubles, which in the day we might have had at the Buffalo News at that one period. But otherwise, simply because we can use the money better someplace else, we're not interested in it. I can't really dig into my psyche and tell you how much of that is because I think that will help us buy businesses in the future if we behave that way, or how much it's just my natural inclination that when I make a deal with somebody and I'm happy with how they behave with me, that I want to stick with them. It's probably both, and I wouldn't want to try and weight the two. I'm happy, with the results of the first, and I'm happy with the way I feel essentially about the second. I just think it's crazy. I know if I owned all of Berkshire myself, I wouldn't dream of trading around businesses with people that have trusted in me and that I like and that have been more than fair with me. I wouldn't dream of trading around businesses so that my estate was 105% of some very large number instead of 100% of some large number. I just would regard that as a crazy way to live. And I don't want the fact I run a public company to cause me to behave in a way that I would be uncomfortable behaving as if we're a private company. But I also feel that you as shareholders are entitled to know that that's an idiosyncrasy of mine, and therefore I lay it out, and I've laid it out for 20 years, as something that you should understand as an investor or before you become an investor. I'm sure it helps us in acquisitions over time, but whether that in any way compensates the opportunity cost that Charlie talks about of making an occasional advantageous disposal, I don't know, and it's something I'll never calculate. Charlie?
Well, I do tend to calculate it at least roughly, and so far I think that the loyalty effect is a plus in our life.
Would you regard that as true, though, in both both marketable securities and owned businesses?
Oh, no, I don't think the loyalty effect in blocks of public companies is nearly as important as it is with the private companies.
You can say it's a mistake for us to be directors of companies because we give up huge amount of flexibility in investment that because we are directors, and there's no question that we do. It's if you're thinking solely of making money, you do not want to be a director of any company.